Hi everyone. So for the turntable animation assignment, you want to be in Substance Stager and also have Premiere open, right? So here we are. When you have Substance Stager open and you have your model set up with the textures, and you can have a backdrop if you want. If you go into the assets folder here and go down to cloth backdrop, you can add that in if you want. I'm just going to delete that. What you want to do to create the animation is first make sure that your object is set to the 0, 0, 0 point on the grid, right? And you want to add in a camera, okay? And what you want to do now is you want to frame your piece, right? However you want, typically in the center to be as professionally suited as possible, right? Um, in the environment, give yourself a little bit of color, okay? Because we don't want it to be just boring gray. Do whatever you want. Make sure the colors are compatible as well. You can add in some lights as well. So maybe I want this or this, right? You can add any of these colors or any of these lights that you see fit. But we do want a nice shadow here, and we do want some sort of backdrop environment lighting, okay? Of course, you could increase the intensity of that and the rotation as well. This is a little bit too overexposed, so maybe something like right here, okay? Shut the intensity down. Remember, this is going to be a 3D revolving, so not match image. Okay, so on the actual 3D element, you want to go to animation here and just toggle on spin. Okay, keep everything to 0, 0 here because this is the point where it's going to be rotating, right? If you had this, let's say, I don't know, at 5, it's going to be rotating at the wrong location, right? You can see how that's rotating at that pivot point. You want this to be 0, and it'll recalculate. And there we go. So 3 seconds is a little bit too fast, so let's turn this up to about 10 seconds, and we want it to rotate 360, and keep it at linear, okay? And this is pretty much it. When you go to render, you want to make sure that you have the highest settings using ray tracing, preset to high, samples 512 is fine. Maximum time, let's say 60 seconds. Okay. Resolution full. Okay, great. And here we want the frame rate at 30 FPS, PNG format. It'll calculate all 300 frames. Make sure to export, right? Proper naming convention, backpack render, and camera 1920 by 1080. You can always, if you overwrite camera size, you can make this 2560 by 1440 or 4K quality. Okay. Make sure when you're saving, you want to create a new folder for yourself. Backpack render, and inside of that folder is where all of the PNGs will go. Okay. I'm just going to turn down these settings because I want this to be fairly quick. And after that, you just hit render. And it's going to do its thing. Yep. Remember, when you have ray tracing on and everything set to high, this is going to take quite a while, so give yourself some time for this, but you do want the maximum quality for this. Minimum time of 10 seconds. I would say nothing less or nothing more than 10 seconds, right? is almost done. Perfect, your render is finished and saved. Now we're gonna open up Adobe Premiere Pro, go into a new project, choose location, I'm just gonna go to another random location, backpack, render. There we go, create. And we can skip importing media because we're gonna do that right now. We can go to add media right here, import media, desktop, and we'll find our backpack render. And then this will be the backpack render camera. Open up that folder. Click on the first image here, 001, and then make sure image sequence is toggled on so that Premiere knows that this is part of a full set of images. And then hit open. And then here, we'll drag and drop this to the timeline. And here we go, our render, right? This, you can see a lot of artifacting here. That's because I had very, very low presets in my Substance Stager to make this go quick. There we go, easy. Now you can have this loop if you want when we export as a what's called MP4. If you want it to go a little bit further, you can go to Effects, Lumetri Presets, and add any of these filters on top of your scene. But it's not really the point of the assignment, so I wouldn't really worry about any presets here. We just want the MP4. So, oh, whoops. Whoops. There we go. Now go to export. Make sure you've named this your first name, last name, and turntable animation. And there we go. And then put the location somewhere you know where it's going. H.264, good. Adaptive high bitrate, good. And then export. And now, I'll go to my desktop. This MP4 is what you will be submitting. And this looks pretty bad because I had very low anti-aliasing and no ray tracing. But you want that on. And this is your assignment right here, to show off your model in a studio presentation style.